Hello, I am so glad to be coming at you with finally some good news for SNAP. This morning, news broke that dozens of states have sued the administration to try to force the release of SNAP benefits in November, which I know is so desperately needed. So today we're going to talk about what's going on, what this lawsuit is about, what they're trying to accomplish, what the timeline could look like if everything goes well, and more. As you know, if you've been following our videos, the government shutdown has caused some issues with SNAP. Obviously, they've said that they will not be issuing that in the month of November. The USDA changed their tone on that just recently, which is part of what prompted this lawsuit in the first place. We've done a lot of videos on this recently, so I don't necessarily want to rehash all of that history. If you have questions about that, we can catch up on that at the Q&A portion. But basically, yesterday we were talking about all the different specific states that were trying to react to this basically threat that SNAP would stop, and how some states are stepping up to fill in that gap on their own with state funds, but most of them can't afford that. That's a lot of money for a state to come up with. So now 24 states and Washington D.C. have gotten together to sue the federal government, basically saying that those contingency funds that the USDA has talked about should be used for November SNAP, because that's what they're for. Now, of course, we know from yesterday's video that the USDA has said that that's not actually what they're for, and that those funds should only be used for disasters. So there's a lot of disagreement about this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm coming in from dealing with my kids, so I'm a little bit flustered here right now. But let's see. I think we've already covered a lot of the basics of this, so I'm going to jump through some of our slides here. Maria did a great job putting these together for me this morning. But I know for a lot of us, the adrenaline has been running high, and the stress has been pretty difficult to bear. So I want to make sure that we're getting right to the point for you today. So USDA, if you looked at the statement that they made, there's a banner on the USDA website right now that says, "Bottom line, the well has run dry," and they're claiming that they have insufficient funds for these payments. But we also know that they have contingency reserves. And really, this fight is coming to what is the point of those contingency reserves and what should they be used for. So, oh, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. I love to talk to you guys. So I don't know if you guys knew about this, because I didn't know about this. But after the USDA told states not to process their November issuances, a bunch of states sent a letter to the USDA asking for clarification. And I'm only about halfway through reading through this, because it just came across my desk as I was preparing to go live with you. But this is a really fun read, actually. It's 7 pages long. And basically, they're asking the USDA all sorts of pointed questions. And one of the quotes that really stood out to me here is they say, "Just 1 month ago, and in anticipation of a possible shutdown, USDA recognized that congressional intent is evident that SNAP's operations should continue, since the program has been provided with multi-year contingency funds that can be used for state administrative expenses." That's a quote that was on the USDA website not very long ago. And it also said that the multi-year contingency funds are also available to fund participant benefits in the event that a lapse occurs. Now, that was on the USDA website not long ago. I knew it was there. I was surprised when it disappeared. All of these attorneys generals from these other states also knew it was there. And that's why they're going after the USDA at this point, is because they're saying, you guys already said that contingency funds could be used this way. Why are you suddenly saying that they can't be? Right? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm just really excited about this, guys. I am really hoping that this lawsuit is going to make a difference. So they sent that letter. Let me see if I can grab the date off of this really quick. It's October 24th. They sent the letter. They told the USDA, you need to respond by end of day October 27th. That's when we want this information. Well, that was yesterday. And they didn't get a response. USDA just didn't acknowledge this letter at all. And so that's why this morning, 24 states and Washington, D.C. filed a joint federal lawsuit in Massachusetts over the administration's refusal to fund SNAP, saying that that violates the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008. The suit is asking the court to order USDA to use contingency funds to keep benefits flowing. Now, I know, and I'm sure you know, that court stuff can drag on for a long time. That's why they're asking for an emergency order to get these benefits out. Now, we're going to talk in a little bit about what that timeline could look like. But first, I want to go over all the different states that are on board with this, because 24 is almost half, right? Anyway, all of the attorneys generals from these states decided to jump in on this, and that is a really big deal to see so many of them working together. Now, I am not a lawyer, not a social worker. I'm just somebody who's been researching this stuff for over a decade now, which seems like a really long time. But my assumption would be that if they filed this lawsuit and the court was like, well, yeah, USDA has to issue SNAP, that it would help everybody. I wasn't able to get a clear answer on that, but that would be my assumption. I will definitely be diving in to try to get clearer information on that. But if a court says they have to, they should have to do it for everybody, right? Not just the states that sued. I don't know. This is another quote that I really loved, and this came from the Massachusetts Attorney General. And she said, despite USDA's claim of insufficient funds, the agency has access to billions of dollars in SNAP-specific contingency funds that are appropriated by Congress for this very purpose. Furthermore, USDA has funded other programs with emergency funds during this shutdown, but has refused to fund SNAP, leaving millions of Americans without the assistance that they need to buy food. It is clear the federal government is making a deliberate, illegal, and inhumane choice not to fund the crucial SNAP program. And that is a direct quote from the press release on their website. So, I see a question here saying, how much are they suing for? So to my understanding, they are suing to have the November SNAP benefits paid. Like, that's the goal here, is they want to get those payments out to the people who deserve them and who need them and who are entitled to them. They just want to get those SNAP benefits paid. So they keep talking about this contingency reserve, and I don't know if you're familiar with this. The letter that they sent, that the states sent to the federal government, straight up asked, how much is in the contingency fund and all of these other questions. But the figure that I have seen in multiple news reports, and I don't know where they pulled that number, is that they have $6 billion. Yeah. So this letter says Congress appropriated $6 billion and perhaps more to USDA in contingency reserve funds for SNAP. That doesn't sound like an insufficient funds issue to me, which is basically what a lot of these attorneys general are saying in this lawsuit, is that the funding is there and that's what the contingency fund should be used for. The letter goes on to say, moreover, we understand that Section 32 funds are also available to USDA and could be used to fund SNAP benefits during a shutdown. Indeed, the agency has reportedly already used Section 32 funds to ensure the continuation of benefits under WIC. If, as it appears, contingency funds and other appropriations remain available, USDA should surely use those funds to continue providing SNAP benefits, rather than effectively suspending all SNAP benefits by summarily ordering states to hold already calculated November allotments. So that's a direct quote from this letter. They are really using the information that was on the USDA's own website against the USDA, which I find kind of a beautiful thing. But yeah, this all comes down to that contingency fund that is there. And so this is the other thing, right? Like, I have talked to you guys over and over and over again, as before the shutdown and during the shutdown, about what I remember happening in 2019. And I tell you, as the news has gotten crazier and crazier, I have started to wonder if maybe I was just remembering it wrong, because I remember the USDA using, I'm pretty sure it was contingency funds, to continue those benefits in that shutdown. And I was so thrilled to see, I think this was a quote from CBS News, where they said that in the last shutdown, in 2019, USDA specifically claimed that funding from the contingency could be used to provide benefits for February in that year. So this is something that is completely precedented. They have done this before. The USDA itself, under the previous Trump administration, made the case that this was possible. So I'm really optimistic and I'm really hopeful that this lawsuit is going to bring us some good results and get those SNAP benefits back into people's pockets. Obviously, we can't guarantee anything, right? This world is weird. Things don't always go according to plan. I'm not a lawyer. There's all sorts of reasons why this may not go necessarily the way we would hope and expect. But that's a lot of attorneys working on it from different states, and it looks like it's got a good shot. So I'm excited to see that they're at least fighting back. So again, the USDA itself is saying, the contingency funds are meant for emergencies. They're saying that the hurricane that's brewing right now, that's why we have it, not for other expenses and things like that. They're saying that Congress has to pass funding and all of this other stuff. But ultimately now that's going to be the decision of a court, it sounds like. Now, we already know what's going to happen if SNAP stops, so I'm going to skip that slide. We have been over that doomsday scenario way more times than I think any of us would like right now. So federal courts could intervene quickly because they're asking for emergency help. Obviously, November 1st is on Saturday. I don't really know how we're already there because I don't feel like it should be November yet. I feel like I have had a constant lag since 2020 and I've just been running behind. But at this point, even if they did intercede and say that states had to release it, it is likely that there would be a delay in getting those out because a lot of states said that if it went on past the 27th, there would be a delay in getting things restarted. But hopefully an emergency order can come into effect pretty quickly, and hopefully that wouldn't be much of a delay. Those sorts of things we won't know for sure until it happens. But the dates that we were able to see in the various news reports that we saw, and there's a lot of news reports and a lot of sources going out about this, because I think everyone is excited for that glimmer of hope that we've been given today. We know the lawsuit was filed today. We know that in the next, from what I saw, 7 to 10 days, they're going to be making more emergency motions. They're going to be trying to get that emergency injunction to get those funds released. If the court grants relief, from what I understand and from what I read on various sources, the states would then begin to be able to distribute those benefits. But Kansas said it would take 3 days from getting the go-ahead to being able to start sending those benefits out. So even if a court stepped in, even in the next few days, there might be a delay for people who usually get benefits on the first of the month and things like that. If you get them later in the month, there might not be a delay. But for those who get it right off the bat, it's likely that there would at least be a delay if even if the court case got that emergency injunction here quickly. Okay, that's the end of my notes. I apologize for my rambling. I kept getting ahead of myself because I'm so excited that they're finally doing something about this. And I'm sure you're probably feeling that way too. So that's the end of the presentation. I have a whole bunch of pages up here so I can grab information for you guys because I'm sure you have questions. Before we dive into that, just a quick reminder that it is still open enrollment season, and I know it doesn't feel as urgent as everything else that's going on right now, but open enrollment does only last until, I believe it's early December. So if you have Medicare, make sure that you give Chapter a call. They can give you free one-on-one help choosing the best plan for you. So give them a call if you are eligible for Medicare. And now I'm going to dive into the chat and hopefully answer some of your questions. And if you are just tuning in and you missed the news about the lawsuit, you're always able to rewind the stream and go back and see what you missed. So, okay. Oh, and of course, right as I say that, Love Pug says, just got here, what's going on? So I guess I'll do just a quick recap for those of you. I did just see the numbers jump. So what's going on is 24 states and Washington, D.C. have sued the federal government to try to force the distribution of SNAP in November. They are seeking some sort of emergency relief to be able to get those payments sent out to people who need it because they're saying that the $6 billion or so that is supposed to be in the USDA's contingency fund should absolutely be used for those benefits. The federal USDA is saying that it shouldn't be, but there is previous statements from back in 2019 where the USDA made the case that it should be used that way. So we're going to see what happens. But anyway, that's what's happening. So, okay. Now, let's see. I'm not seeing a lot of questions. Let's see. Oh, thank you guys who are being so nice to me here in the chat. I always feel bad when I jump on a live and I'm just really excited because I know sometimes I ramble a little bit. But, ooh, yeah, for those of you who are homebound and don't have a car, it's really hard to get replacement food when SNAP is threatened. I know that. We did another video. Things like Lasagna Love should be able to bring food to you, but I know that doesn't cover a lot of meals. That's so hard. Okay, Little Sheba is asking, what are the 24 states that are suing? Let's go back and see if we can find that list. Although I guess you could skip back in the video too. Somewhere in here we had that list. No, I think it was this way. There we go. Those are the 24 states that are suing. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is a common misconception. TT Happy Rock is saying, do SNAP cash benefits come out of the same funds as food? So SNAP is a food-only program. There aren't cash benefits as part of SNAP. EBT cash is usually funded from a different program like TANF or Refugee Cash Assistance or one of those other programs. They are separate programs. So, okay, Elizabeth is asking if there's been any confirmation that funds currently on SNAP will still be usable in November. This is a difficult question. And yesterday I changed my mind on how I was answering it. So I hope you're all able to hear this update and understand the intent of my heart as I share this with you. So before yesterday, I was telling you all that I believed that SNAP would still be usable after the 1st. And in my opinion, it should be. I can't think of any rational explanation why the payment system would go down and your current balance would disappear. It doesn't make sense. That being said, as our team has done state-by-state research looking at all of the different states' websites, I've noticed that some of the states are assuring people, oh yeah, those benefits are going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You can still spend it after the 1st. It's fine. But then you have other states like Arkansas that are saying, no, you need to spend that now because on the 1st, the system might go down. Now, logically, from what I understand, it doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't be able to spend your balance after the 1st. But just in case those other portion of states are right, if I had EBT and if I still had EBT and I was still using it to feed my family, I don't think I would personally want to take that risk. I have 5 kids. If I was an EBT user right now, I would take whatever remaining balance I had and go buy shelf-stable food. That would be the choice that I would personally make for my household. I'm not saying that the system will go down on the 1st and that it won't be usable. I don't know. I think it should be. There's a lot of things that I think should be happening that aren't, if that makes sense. There's a lot of things that I have taken for granted as certainties that in the last several years, I have found out were not as sure as I believed them to be. And that would not be a risk I would want to take with my household. So I'm trying to answer this delicately because, like I've told you guys a million times, I don't work with the government. I'm just a person who researches this stuff. I hope that answers your question. I know it probably wasn't the most comforting answer, and I do apologize for that. I just don't want to give you guys bad advice and have someone end up in a bad situation because I believed something or I was optimistic about something and it didn't work out that way, if that makes sense. Okay, yes, I'm seeing a request to remove somebody from the chat, so we'll be doing that right now. Okay, that person should be gone from the chat. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Jim J. I really appreciate that. I know in the last couple of weeks, we've been drawing more and more trolls, I think, than we ever have before in our chats. And so I appreciate you guys helping me keep the chat clean and clear of people. Sorry, I'm laughing because I saw a comment that said that I'm a millionaire. I'm definitely not a millionaire. Yeah. um, okay, Cynthia is asking me to read the list because the print is too small. So I'll just really quickly read those states for you guys. Did she just put an alphabetical list of all 50 states on there? I'm going to have to check with her. That doesn't seem right to me now that I'm looking at this. Huh. I'm not sure she did this slide right. Hang on, let me message Maria really quickly. I have some questions. And I'll message Stephanie really quickly too, because I'm not sure Maria's available. Okay, I'll get the team to get back to me on that because now that I'm looking over that list, I have some questions. I apologize for that. Like I told you guys yesterday, we are onboarding like 5 new team members at one time, so it's a little overwhelming over here. But Stephanie is typing right now, so we'll get a definitive answer on that here in just a second. And in the meantime, I will move off that slide just to make sure that propagating anything here. Yeah, you guys are noticing that's all 52. I am pretty sure that's also wrong. I will be taking that up with Maria when we're off of here. Yeah, we're gonna fix that. I apologize, guys. I liked it better when I was the one doing all of the research, but it is so hard to track all of this stuff. So I will get you guys the accurate list here in just a second. Stephanie is working on it right now. If you can get me your list ASAP, that'd be great. Okay. Okay. Well, we will be fixing that. I apologize, guys. That is terrible. We will put a pin in that, and we'll come back to that in just a second. Stephanie's working on fixing there really quick. Oh, thank you. Katie did it. Yeah, I type at like 280 words a minute because, yeah, that's a whole thing. Lots of practice. Okay, yeah, I apologize, guys. That was terrible. Wow, that threw me for a loop. Okay, let's get in here and answer some other questions while Stephanie gets us that more up-to-date list. That was not good. Yeah, so there's someone in here, how do you even think that keeps talking about how USDA doesn't have a legal method to appropriate the funds in the emergency. So since you're still here and you're being persistent, I just want to point out the USDA under the former Trump administration said they could. So either they were wrong then or they're wrong now. And I think it's probably a good thing to have a court weigh in and see which one was correct. So if you are in Virginia, there is actually good news for you. We did a video yesterday. The state government in Virginia has stepped up to cover those, I believe, was what we found, right? I am suddenly less confident about everything. Let's see. Let's make sure I can get this right for you. Yes, so the governor in Virginia has declared a state emergency, and if the federal government doesn't figure this out in time, then the state will be somehow making up for the difference there. Now, I did see some interesting reports from other states. I don't remember. It wasn't, I don't think, specifically from Virginia. I think it came out of, Louisiana was talking about how they want to do something, but the EBT card, like that's, a lot of that is controlled by the federal government. So I don't know exactly what the mechanism is going to look like with how they're going to be replacing those benefits. But in the state of Virginia, they do have a plan to take care of their people. So if you're in Virginia, I would not be worried. They said that they can help for a while, but they're not, they're like, if it goes on indefinitely, then they'll have a problem. But they have a plan to help for now. So that's good. Okay, I like Linda's idea. If you have a question you want me to answer, type it in all caps so that it stands out to me a little bit better. That would be great. Okay, so shout out to Stephanie. I don't know if she's watching right now still. I think she may have jumped out to get the list for us, but she is phenomenal. She joined our team a little while back, and she's just been great. So to fix the slide that Maria gave us, The attorneys general of Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, North Carolina, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, Wisconsin, and the District of Columbia, as well as the governors of Kansas, Kentucky, and Pennsylvania have joined in the lawsuit. So that is what is going on. It looks like it's up to 26 states now, based on this report that she just pulled for us. And I'm going to, okay, I think she's going to drop that in the comments for us. So thank you guys for catching that. Thank you, Stephanie, for getting that information for us. I know it's hard to grab information on a live, so I appreciate that support. Oh, that's cute. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. That's adorable. Love Rise has a valid question here. You know, you have to ask yourself, why do they want you to spend all of your money on your card if it's going to be available? I think it's because nobody really knows what's going on. You know, I've seen a lot of reports today talking about how if there was a lapse in November, if those benefits were not paid, that would be the first time in 60 years that happened. This is unprecedented. And I have to tell you, I am very, very tired of living in unprecedented times. I would like to just have some normalcy. But this is not normal. Nobody knows exactly what this would look like because it's never been done before. And I think for a lot of people who are urging those kind of worst case scenario approaches, I think they just want you to be prepared because they don't know. And that's definitely where my sentiment is coming from, right? Like until yesterday, most of the time I was just saying, you know, it's going to be fine. There's no reason you wouldn't be able to spend it. I still think that's probably the case, but I would absolutely not want a single person on this channel to go grocery shopping on Saturday morning and find out the hard way that I was wrong. Because I don't shop with EBT anymore. I used to. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to wait until midnight, the day that the funds drop because you're out of food in the house and you need to go get something urgently. And so you're waiting for that deposit. I've been there. I've lived that. I know that story. But I don't rely on EBT right now. And I don't want to give you advice and then have you be the one that finds out the hard way that I was wrong. That would be horrific. That would be horrible. I can't imagine anything more awful than that. And so I think for people who are telling you to go out and spend what you have and get essentials, they're just trying to make sure that they don't put you in a position of hardship if they're wrong. Because that's, I think, that's where I'm at. Yeah, a lot of you are talking about being stressed because Thanksgiving is coming up, and I know that is definitely a big concern. I am hoping, it is my personal hope, that this lawsuit moves forward, those funds are sent out, and you guys are fine before the holidays. But knowing that it's a possibility that is not the case, we are currently preparing for our list of free Thanksgiving meal providers, which we put out every year. And we should be publishing that sometime early next week. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you watch that video when it drops, because a lot of those providers offer a limited number of meals per thing, right? And I'm not the only one who reports on this. Obviously, there's tons and tons of outlets who report on this. And you want to make sure that if you need, that if you're going to need that help, that you connect with those resources right away, because if you wait, they will be gone. So that list will be coming out next week. Now, Andrea is saying that I should stop referring Lasagna Love because they have a 6-month wait. It is a voluntary program. It's not available everywhere. It is an amazing resource. Some areas don't have long waits. Others do have long waits. It depends on how many volunteers are in your area. All sorts of other factors can go into what that wait time looks like. So if you are in an area with a very long wait, I am truly sorry. Since the time that I founded Low Income Relief, I have always kind of had the philosophy that I should refer every possible option to you, because like I just said about the Thanksgiving ones, they run out, right? There are limitations. Some people are eligible for one thing, but not another. Some things are available in rural communities, but not urban ones, or vice versa. When you're trying to help low-income people across all 50 states, it is really difficult. I don't know how many of you have been here since the beginning, but when I first founded Low Income Relief, I had originally intended to serve my home state of Washington and only Washington, and that lasted about 10 minutes before I started getting questions about, Oregon and California and all of the other states. And so now we're nationwide, and it's a lot harder to keep up on all of the different resources that are out there. But as a general policy, I am going to tell you about everything I can think of and hope that at least one of them works for you. That's pretty much all I can do. So anyway, that's hopefully explains why I keep referring them, even though in some areas it is really hard to connect with that resource. Let's see, I'm going to highlight this one. Okay, Sarah. Sarah is saying, people saying for those on SNAP to get a job, what about the elderly, those that are retired, disabled, can't work due to health or age? This is why get a job is not the guidance I give on this channel. Right? I will talk to you about side gigs, things you can do from home, ways to make money online. That's all fine, but I'm not going to pretend like getting a job is an answer for everyone because I know it's not. My brother, who passed away this year, had MS from the time he was 16. He never really had the chance to work. Disability struck him young, and it struck him hard, and it took his life before he turned 30. I have had the opportunity to serve and love a great number of people with disabilities, and I am well aware that work is not always a viable option, even when people desperately would love to. So I really love Sarah making this point. I think it's a great one, and I just wanted to call that out because I know I get a lot of pushback from people who wish that I would just preach work, but it just doesn't work for everyone. All right. Tried and Tested said, is there a way to find out positively if we can use what we have after November 1? Okay, so I don't know. And that's hard for me to say because research is my bread and butter. It's my living. It's what I do all the time. I am seeing different answers on different .gov websites. The USDA says you can use current funds. No offense, but until a couple of weeks ago, the USDA also said they could use contingency funds to pay SNAP in November, and now they're saying you can't. That's one of my struggles here, is that they don't agree with themselves, basically, right? And then we've got some states saying, yeah, it's fine, and some states saying, it's probably not. I don't know how to sort through that. So I would say err on the side of caution. But that's just my perspective on that. So Steve is asking, why is the lawsuit for SNAP good for us? So this is why it's good for you. Because states are going after the USDA and saying, you have $6 billion in a contingency fund. You need to pay these benefits, right? We as individual people can't really sue the federal government for things. It would... Even if you had the standing for that, it would be super expensive, right? The states are advocating on behalf of their residents who receive SNAP, and they are trying to get an emergency order to get those benefits paid. That's why it's good news. The hope is that the court will decide in favor of the states. That's my hope, and that they will get some sort of emergency relief to get that money sent out. If they win the lawsuit, will it cover just those states or the whole country? I am not a lawyer, but my understanding is that if a court found that the USDA had to spend the contingency funds to fund SNAP, that would affect the whole country. But again, I'm not an attorney. That's just based on my knowledge, and I'm still looking for more verification of that. Sunshine Glittering says, I am able to get lasagna love in my area every 30 days or so. So that is really awesome. In some areas, there are plenty of volunteers. The general policy is that you can request one meal a month. So it sounds like it's working as it's supposed to in your area, which is great. Okay. My goodness, people. Okay, clicking on this because I see that it's about to disappear from my stream here. What do you feel about the money that's so-called given to people to help pay bills, groceries? Okay, so Juicy, I don't know what specific money you're talking about in this question, There are a ton of different nonprofits and organizations that I trust that do offer assistance with bills and things. In those cases, though, the money is always given to the person you owe. It's never given to you as cash. That's part of the way they protect the integrity of their programs. Now, if someone is offering to give you cash to pay bills or buy groceries, often that is going to be a scam. We have seen a massive increase in the number of online ads lately that are targeting low-income people with promises of money and other assistance that just doesn't exist. So if you see an ad online and you're not sure if it's real or if it's not, you can always screenshot that, take a picture of it, and send it to team@lowincomerelief.com. And Stephanie and I will help you figure out, hang on, we'll help you figure out if it's real. Okay. Yes. So Mary, SNAP is accepted at Sam's Club. That's one of the best ways to use your benefits in my experience. You can also use SNAP at Costco. And one of the things that my family did when I was still receiving SNAP benefits is that we would go to Costco at tax-free time, buy the membership that gives you cash back on your purchases, and then use our SNAP at Costco. And then you also get that refund check at the end of the year, which was really helpful to my family. Just as a tip for anyone who finds that convenient. Okay, Samuel says, buy canned foods with the most protein like fish, beans, canned meat. That is solid advice. Amanda's flagging that there is a scam going around asking for your information so you can get money from a class action lawsuit. Please do be aware of that. There is a huge influx of scams going around right now. Everybody is trying to make a quick buck off of other people, and it's horrible. So class action lawsuits are real, but you generally have to be very proactive in finding them and filling out that application. They're not going to chase you down to make you take your money. You're usually going to have to do some digging to find it. And we do go over a list every month of legit class action opportunities. But if someone is reaching out to you to try to get your information for that, do not give it to them. It is more often than not going to be a problem. So, okay, Richard the Explorer says that the My Bridges website for Michigan is saying that EBT cards will still work after November 1st. A lot of states are saying that. Some states are saying the opposite. We'll see if we can figure out if this is a state-by-state issue or if or what is going on there and why there is so much disagreement about it. Shannon says, does anyone know of work-from-home part-time jobs for the disabled besides their local vocational rehabilitation who don't help at all? So some voc rehab programs are great. Some are terrible. It just depends on where you live. For me, I have always worked from home. That's been a blessing that I've been able to enjoy. I have worked for, before they went under, local newspapers. But then I also started working on sites like TextBroker, if you're good at writing, Upwork, if you're interested in doing virtual assistants or marketing or a lot of different things. If you have artistic skills or things of that nature, Fiverr can be a good opportunity for gig work online. These are all gig work platforms where you can decide whether you're going to do like writing or graphic design or virtual assistant type stuff. Those are the platforms I use because that's where my skill set is. I know obviously there's platforms like our sponsor Free Cash that'll pay you to play games and do surveys and stuff like that, but generally that's not going to make up a part-time job income. That's usually going to be a lot more kind of small payments. Same thing for things like Amazon Mechanical Turk. That's a platform people used for a while to make a little bit of side money doing micro tasks, but those aren't really that sustainable. I'm trying to think of the platforms I used to use. I think, was it Flex Jobs, might vet the opportunities. I think they have a small, if it's the one I'm thinking of, they have a small subscription fee, but then they vet every job that's on there so you know that it's legit. A lot of work from home jobs are scams, but there are real legit ones out there. It just takes a lot of vetting to find it. And if you guys think that this would be useful, like a work from home job reference thing, I can put together a list of websites you can trust to find that as well. Let's see what else we got here. Oh my gosh, Kenneth, thank you so much. This is so generous. I really appreciate it when you guys do this. You absolutely don't have to, but it definitely helps our team. I appreciate that. So the news with Medicaid, to be honest with you, I haven't looked recently because I have been up to my eyeballs in SNAP news. But I will dive in and we'll get a video out about Medicaid here very shortly so that I can get you the most accurate information on that as well. I don't want to give you anything that isn't 100% above board. And right now my brain is all full of SNAP news because that's what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. So I appreciate you bringing this to my attention, and I will make sure that we take care of that. I really appreciate those of you who tell me I'm doing okay. I have, since the time I started low income relief, I've always hesitated to be live because it just makes me so nervous. But I love you guys, and I really appreciate that. Your comments are awesome. Help keep me going here. Have I heard anything about a federal inflation adjustment initiative payment? No, I haven't, but that name itself sounds scammy to me. A lot of times you'll see that scammers will try to use words like federal or adjustment because it sounds official. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything trustworthy about that right now, and I will also flag that for investigation, but I would assume that anything you saw on that point is a scam. Now, if you've seen ads or posts about this and you want to send them to team@lowincomerelief.com, we can take a look at that, and that'll help us see what you're seeing and kind of dig into that a little deeper too. Yes, Unknown is pointing out lawsuits will take months, if not years. So my understanding is that they're asking for like an emergency injunction, which can usually move a lot faster. It's definitely not a guarantee, right? At this point, we're not getting any promises. But if they are able to get some sort of emergency injunctive relief, then the hope is that within, sometime in the month of November, hopefully we can get progress made on getting those out. The full lawsuit, of course, would take a lot longer, but it's the emergency injunctive relief that I think we're really concerned about because we need to get people food help as soon as possible. Yeah, Mose is talking about videos of guys going to dumpsters filled with food. I have read so many books about just the way that poverty and business and things like that work in the last couple of years, and it's been astonishing to me how much food waste we have. I did see something interesting that I didn't put in the slide deck today, and DoorDash has said that they are launching an emergency food response in November to help basically transport food for free, it sounds like, from grocery stores to food banks. And I'm hoping that that's going to help cut down on some of this waste that we see around the country, because a lot of food, I think I saw that 42% of food gets thrown away in this country, I think was the statistic that I saw a while back. 42%. That's kind of insane, right? And so, and there's all sorts of different reasons that happens. It's a terrible thing to think that we're throwing away all of this food while people are simultaneously going hungry. Doesn't make sense to me. Oh, as Stevie says, whoever my employer is should keep me. I am my employer, so I will make sure to do that. But thank you for that comment. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, well, more of you are asking for that work from home list. We will definitely get that done. That's a great thing to have. I know when my husband became too disabled to work, I looked for work from home opportunities, and it was really hard to find trustworthy ones because there's a lot of scammers out there that just, I don't know, there's scammers in every space, I guess. But I was fortunate to be able to find a couple of really awesome work from home opportunities that helped tide us over. And that's how I learned how to set up my own website. And then it went viral. And now I'm here with you on YouTube. So work from home opportunities can be absolutely life-changing. Yeah. I agree with you guys. We definitely need to get a mod team going here. I've had a really hard time in the past because like I said, we've been running low income relief since 2013. And we've had seasons where we've taken on extra help and then something goes not so great. And it's been hard to find people that I trust to put in positions basically have power over the channel. Like you saw earlier today, we had that slide that was wrong in here. And if I had made the slide deck myself, that wouldn't have happened. But I'm trying to delegate more tasks, and it's hard to know what to let people do. If you are on this channel and you are interested in helping as a moderator, if you can email your username and your email address to team@lowincomerelief.com, I would be interested in seeing if there are any of you here in the community that would like to assist with that moderation, and we'll try to figure out how to move forward with that, because this is definitely more than I can do on my own. I can see the numbers are starting to drop, which makes sense because I can also see that we've been here live for over an hour, which I don't usually do. At our peak, we had almost, from what I could see here inside my tools, we had almost 2,000 people on at one time, and the comments were a bit relentless. So we definitely need mod help, and I would prefer to work with those of you who are here on the channel and who have been part of the community for a while. I think that might work pretty well. Okay, Mama says some other channel was just talking about what we do. That's awesome. I would love to know who was talking about us. I'm super curious. That's interesting. All right, Kyle is asking what I would recommend for people if their local food pantries happen to run out and they really can't travel. That's so hard. Like, that is so hard. And it's a very, very real problem. So a lot of food banks have started rolling out delivery for people who are homebound. So I would call around to other resources in your community and see if they are able to assist with that. Now, if you are over the age of around 62, or if you have a disability that's keeping you home, I would reach out to your local area agency on aging. There's one basically everywhere. You just need to contact the one nearest you and see if they're aware of any resources, because they might know of additional things in your community that can help. Your Community Action Council could be a good resource too. Every time I have ever had a question and I've reached out to a local Community Action Council, they have had lists upon lists of resources that could help. So I would recommend reaching out to them too. And remember, when you reach out to these guys, you don't have to be like, hey, can you help me? I'm stuck at home. Sometimes it helps to ask, this is my situation. Do you know of any resources that can help me? Do you know of any services that can help me with this? Sometimes even if they can't help you directly, they can point you to the person who can. So that's where I would start. I'm trying to remember which channel it's on. We have a secondary channel called Fast Facts by Low Income Relief, where we put some of our videos that, we just have too many videos for one channel now, which is kind of silly. I don't know if it's on this channel or the Fast Facts channel, but we do have a list of resources that help seniors. So I would go check that out and just basically contact all of the organizations in that list and see if they know of someone who can help get food to you. There are some online food banks that say they can send you food, but they often have a massive backlog. You could also try something like NetWish, but those aren't sure deals. I will think more on this question and possibly do like a whole second video on the Fast Facts channel of ideas, because I know that this is going to be a big need. In fact, let me write that down really quick. So Jeff is saying, what is the cookbook and where is it at? So we put together what was called a food bank cookbook, which we designed to help when you're cooking with food that maybe you're not necessarily used to, because a lot of times food banks are going to give you dry staples or maybe things that you wouldn't normally buy. So that's just a cookbook that we put together. It's available at lirlinks.com. That's like low income relief links, but it's an abbreviation, lirlinks.com/cook. That'll take you to the thing. Holly Ann is asking about HEAP. So HEAP, LIHEAP, it's known by a lot of different names. Some states were opening that up and making the funding available on the assumption that it would become available from the federal government later. Other states are delaying that. We're planning to do another video about what's going on with this program in the next week or two. I'm hoping that we will find out at the last minute we don't need to because the government reopens. That would be really nice. But if it doesn't, we will be rolling that video out very soon so that you guys can know what's going on. Yes, so there seems to be some confusion about COLA. So COLA stands for cost of living adjustment. And this is something that's made to, honestly, a lot of the main programs. So Social Security gets a COLA, VA benefits get a COLA, SNAP benefits get a COLA. This is that annual bump that happens that helps increase your benefits. Now, COLA is a real thing. The Social Security Administration just announced their COLA last Friday. It's going to be 2.8%, and it's going to take effect with your January checks. The SNAP COLA is announced usually in September, and it takes effect in October, I believe. COLAs are real. If you're getting your COLA information from low income relief or from an official source, you can trust it. That's not whatever inflation reduction thing people were talking about, I think. So just be aware of that. Let's see. Yep, Jessica's right. COLA is 2.8% is what they announced last week. So, okay, Love Pug says, will you give the email address again? Yes. So our email address is team@lowincomerelief.com. No spaces, no dashes, no hyphens, nothing. Just team@lowincomerelief.com, spelled like our title name. So, and you can email that anytime. That'll get you to Stephanie. She helps route stuff where it needs to go. She's amazing. So, oh, thank you, Dog Roses. I appreciate that. Sharing helps a ton. Honestly, watching the videos helps a ton. I know because I watch the comments that there are some of you who watch every video, whether it applies to you or not. And I cannot thank you enough for that because really it's the views, the likes, the comments, the shares that really help us get that information out to more people. And that's always been our goal, is to get the information to as many people as possible, because there's just a lot of people who don't get that information anywhere else, or at least not from sources that they can trust. All right, Donna Brown is saying, please pin a list of those work from home companies. So what we'll do is I've already asked Stephanie to put it on the research team list. We're going to get a list of it on our website. And as soon as it's done, we will make a video out of it and we will send it out to our email list. This is one of the advantages of signing up for that free cookbook, because that puts you on our email list. 3 times a week, we send out everything that we have found so far in that week. We used to only do it once a week, but now we are getting there's just so much happening all the time that we're sending out more emails with more news. But if you want to make sure that you get the work from home company list, make sure that you've signed up for our emails so that we can get that to you directly. So, yeah, there you go. Oh, thank you. A bunch of you are saying that you just found us, and I'm so glad that you found us. Welcome to Low Income Relief. We're here to help. So I appreciate all of you. Oh my gosh, Mama, that's amazing. I have had a lot of people talk to me about Dr. Ed. So that is really cool of you. Thank you for letting me know that. I'm going to see if I can go find that. That's really interesting. That makes me happy. I love helping people. I am so grateful for those of you who have been a part of this channel and who are here and watching, because it is the great honor of my life that I'm able to do this for my job and to research and to help people, because it's a wonderful thing to be able to do that. That's awesome. Melissa, you could still volunteer even if you can't guarantee you'll be here. I think if we get enough people on board, then we'll be good to go. We definitely need to get a robust mod team on here, because we have suddenly become just a massive troll magnet. Mama Bear's Crafty Makes says, do you know of any free computer classes for the disabled to learn for work from home jobs? So libraries are amazing. A lot of them will have free computer classes for anyone, but especially for seniors and people with disabilities. Senior centers often do this as well. And even if you are not a senior, often they will allow people with disabilities to participate as well. Same thing with area agencies on aging. They're for seniors or people with disabilities. A lot of times there are other groups that will do this as well. Vocational rehabilitation organizations are really great for this. I don't think we have a list of those on the website yet. That is probably another thing we should do. I'm going to make a note of that. Okay. Yes, I did see that DoorDash is waiving fees for food delivery for SNAP during this time as well. There was a limit on it. I have it up here really quick. Let me see. It says they're going to waive delivery and service fees for 300,000 grocery orders for SNAP recipients. They're going to cover the cost of delivery and the service fees. It can be used by customers who have a linked SNAP EBT card to their profile, and you can shop at Sprouts, Dollar General, Schnucks, Food Lion, Giant Foods, The Giant Company, Hannaford, Stop and Shop, Hy-Vee, Giant Eagle, and Wegmans. And it's going to be for one order per account, it looks like. So, and I'm reading this off of the DoorDash press release page because I still had that up here because I was going to include that in the slide deck, but then I ended up having someone else make it for me. So thank you for highlighting that, Love Wins. I appreciate that. If you really want a bumper sticker, we can make that happen. Yeah, anyway. We have another sponsor that can make that happen, so we can work on that. Let's see. Ooh, I love this tip from video. $20 rice cooker and a $20 bag of basmati rice is a great way to prep meals, and basmati rice is amazing. My family eats a lot of that. So that is not a bad idea. Yeah, I agree with this, Amanda. Imagine how miserable you have to be to troll people that are worried about being able to feed their families. I will never understand why people do that. It doesn't make sense to me. But I definitely agree with that sentiment you just shared there. So, ooh, yes. Love this from Dizzy Shar. Another reminder, if you still have some food stamps left and it's in your area, hit up the farmer's market and get them doubled up. Every little bit helps. Double up programs are amazing, and they're in a lot of different areas. So in some places, it's only farmers markets. In other places, there are some grocery stores that will double up your food benefits as well, as long as you're buying fresh, locally grown fruits or vegetables. In most cases, some areas will also double up the money that you spend on herbs and honey as well. And we have a list of a bunch of different providers on our website at lowincomerelief.com/double up is where we report on all of that. So this is an awesome tip. Definitely recommend that. So Love Wins is saying the shutdown could affect December SNAP. So at this point, I only want to cross one bridge at a time. So it's possible that if they don't resolve it, it could continue to be an issue. But between the lawsuit and everything else, I am hoping that we see a resolution sometime in November. If this becomes an issue that continues and it looks like it's going to threaten December, you better believe we'll be on here talking to you about more things. I am at this point considering changing from 6 videos a week to 7 just to try to keep up with all of the news. Yes, thank you, Clicker. Yep, I'm glad this channel is here too. And all of you are in my prayers. Seriously, I am so worried about all of you. This is a very, very stressful time. Ooh, this is a great question from Lights Rage. So the text from our slides is actually turned into articles that we put on our website. So if you go to lowincomerelief.com, you can find all of the information from our recent videos in a written format. I know that some people really prefer to read instead of watch a video. Ironically, I'm one of those people. I hate watching videos. I always want to read the information for myself. So if you prefer to read, you can always go to lowincomerelief.com. And if you are subscribed to our email list, like I said earlier, we will email out a list of links, and we email out both the written version and then it has the video embedded in it, so you can choose which format that you would like to use to get that information. So definitely, we definitely try to accommodate that as much as possible. So, ooh, this is a great tip from Princess Milk Chocolate. 10-pound bags of chicken leg quarters and then jasmine rice and a veggie. That's awesome. Chat. So a lot of you are asking if Meals on Wheels has been affected. So I did see that now you got to remember, I don't have these numbers in front of me. I'm pulling this out of my memory, so I may be a little bit off here. But I'm pretty sure the report I saw said that 9 out of 10 Meals on Wheels organizations are federally funded. And something like 62% of their budget comes from the government or something like that. Now I'm pulling this out of my memory. But from what I remember reading, some of them may be impacted if they're not getting those funds. Other ones have robust forms of private funding that are still continuing. So it really just kind of depends on your location, it sounds like. The hope is that it won't be affected. And I think that's also going to come down to how long the shutdown continues. So Love Wins is asking if WIC is affected. So they used some creative maneuvers to move funding into the WIC program, and it was fine for the month of October. It is not clear if they are going to continue it into the month of November. There's actually a lot of different things that aren't being addressed because everyone's focused on SNAP and they're not seeing the other issues. So I was going to do another video here shortly about the other programs that may also be at risk in November. And we'll be going over that in the next couple of days. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that one. And then, of course, joining our email list is also really good because as much as I wish that it would, YouTube doesn't show everyone all of our videos, even if you mark the notification bell. So joining our email list is the best way to make sure that you don't miss anything. Oh, this is cool. Princess Milk Chocolate says, Ruby's Pantry in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, North and South Dakota offers a huge trunk full of random food, including some meat for $25. That is a great tip. So I know a lot of like outlet stores and salvage stores sometimes do bargain deals too. So, well, it is about time I need to get off of here. My family needs me. Yeah. Tammy Talk says, I spent the last $7 in change at my food stamps last night. I wasn't going to take any chances. That's what I would be doing too. I wouldn't take any chances either. Just because there's conflicting information, and I think it's better to err on the side of caution when you're not sure. But that's just me and my anxiety, I suppose. So, okay. All right. I really hate getting off of here when I worry that I'm not going to have answered all of your questions. Okay. All right. Well, at this point, I need to go feed my children. So I'm going to have to go. But please know that I care about all of you guys. I'm worried about all of you. I appreciate you being here with me and being patient through all of our live streams as I go through all the questions and things. You were wonderful. And I hope that this information today was at least encouraging to you. It was nice to have some good news for a change. I hope you guys have a blessed night. We will be back tomorrow with more ways